Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am drawing shoes today. I'm actually drawing from real life, which is not something that I do often. I'm drawing my dingy shoes, so I will not be able to show you. They are the ones that I wear every day, and I wear them when I'm playing recreational activities and doing different sports. So can't show you them because they look ratted and tatted. I do not draw them as such. I draw them as if they were in perfect condition. But I learned that drawing from life really helps you get a good understanding of proportions, and it gets rid of distortions that show up in images. So that is what I am trying to do today. So for this very first shoe, I'm drawing the side view, as you can tell. And I end up cutting at some parts throughout the video, you'll notice, because my hand goes in front of the camera, and instead of focusing on what I'm drawing, it focuses on my hand, and so what I'm drawing becomes blurry. I didn't think you just want to see a hand with a blurry picture. I didn't think that'd be any fun. So sorry about that, but I've definitely figured out how to make it lock onto the drawing and not the hand for future videos. So look forward to that. Anyway, I am not drawing too many designs on it, but I wanted to mainly focus on how to get the proportions right for the shoe itself. Now moving on to the second shoe. I'm drawing this shoe so that you're able to see the actual bottom of where you would walk on the shoe. So I am going to include the sole of the shoe, and I am blocking out the parts with basic shapes. I do that little swoop-de-doo for where you'd actually insert your foot into the shoe. Now this shoe, I definitely gave me the blues because it's laying down on like my drawing desk, so it's at a weird angle. And when I like tilt my body a little, I'm seeing it at different views. I'm trying to keep my head focused so I get this one exact look, and it was hard, so I ended up having to go in and erase a bunch of times. Now, you know, the shoe has very different grooves, like the bottom of them. Thankfully, this one didn't have all those holes, so I didn't have to reimagine it. It basically had three distinct parts, which I end up adding the detail in right about now. It had the top part, which had two, as you can see, two major parts with one minor groove, and then it had a relatively large gap, and then a bottom part that was pretty long. While it lacked holes, I am trying to give it these lines to indicate some volume and definition in the shoe. Later, I'll end up going along the side to really give the two-dimensionality to it. And like I said, it is at a weird angle, and I have to erase a bunch of times. I do edit it out a lot, and you are seeing this in 2x speed, if you can believe that. Which is also why I hate to disappoint you, but I am not painting it in this video. It's going to be a part 2 where I paint it, because otherwise this would have been a 30-minute video, and I did not think you guys would want to sit through that. But I will upload that as the next video, so you do have that to look forward to. And also coming up, I wanted to release a surprise. I am showing you my thought process of drawing my logo, because I actually designed it myself, and what went into that. So over the next couple of seconds, you'll really see me try and work out the curvature of the shoe as where you'd put it in, because as it was sitting now, it was seeming as if the sole, the white part, at least on my shoe, versus like the actual shoe itself, was bigger than it should be, so the proportions weren't right. So I'm trying to work that out. In the comments, I want you guys to let me know, are you the type of person that even if you have more than one shoe, you'll wear that shoe until it's completely worn out and then wear another shoe? Or are you the type to wear this shoe one day because it matches this outfit, wear this shoe another day to match this outfit? Like, where do you guys stand on that? Because personally, I think I'm more the type, wear it until like basically the hems are coming out, and then you have to change it. Because I have multiple shoes, but I seem to wear certain ones way more often than others, and I really don't know why that is. I think partially it has to do with if you don't wear a shoe for a while, I feel like I have to break it in again, and then my feet starts to hurt. But also, it's just like convenient. I know this shoe is gonna be reliable. It'll be a good time. And recently, I've had like problems with my shoes, like just fitting awkwardly. And there's nothing worse than having to walk around in a shoe all day that is just uncomfortable. Like, I cannot stand that feeling. As you can see, I'm not really going crazy here with the shading because I will be using watercolor to actually paint it, so the shading really serves no purpose. Anyway, I switched up the camera angle. Hope you don't mind. This is actually the way that all of it gets recorded. I just end up editing it out. I think I like this top-down view, especially for this shoe. This is kind of interesting in my opinion. But I'm drawing this third shoe as if the shoe's standing up, or you're standing over the shoe and looking down. That's kind of what I'm trying to emulate here. Either way, it's behind both of these shoes, but it is bigger than the shoe, which, of course, it's not in perspective because this shoe would be humongous, like maybe for a giant if it was this big. But I just thought it'd just be interesting to give it more character and dimension on the page. I honestly think this had to be one of the hardest shoes that I ended up drawing that day because it's at an odd angle. When things are drawn and when you're looking directly on it, like straight on, you have to get that right because if you don't, it can be distorted big time. And the curvature on the left, like shoes aren't the straight objects, like your foot, it's at the top, it's wider than it is at the bottom. So that's kind of what the shoe does. It wants to obviously fit your foot. I could not figure this out, and it took me forever. You don't even understand. You're seeing maybe a 17-minute video of it, but this shoe alone probably took me 17 minutes. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. I did end up cutting a lot of it out because I am watching a show as I'm doing this. I'm watching I believe it's called Night Action or Night Agent on Netflix, which is really good. I do recommend. Do you guys tend to watch shows while drawing? Because I tend to. It's like drawing is something that I do as a leisure activity just to wind down, and it's something nice that I can do while doing other things. That's how I like to do many of my hobbies, honestly, because I also crochet and I'll be watching a show and crocheting, so that's me. What do you guys prefer? Is it like you just have to focus on drawing when you're drawing, or can you do other things? I think as I progress with my YouTube channel, I'm going to try and start making more videos with just using pen, because obviously you see me using pencil and an eraser. I think it'll be helpful for me to just point out what are the main things that I need to convey, and it'll help my work be looser and won't focus on, oh, these tiny details. It'll make sure I'm drawing light so that when I draw darker, it'll be the important things. And I also think it'll go a little bit faster because you're not worrying, oh, I have to get this perfect. It's like, well, this is kind of permanent, so it is what it is. As Bob Ross said, happy little accidents. These shoelaces, of course, I mean, they're probably one of the best I do all day, which is, what does that really say? I don't know. But when I go over them in pen, which you'll see in the next video, you can see the ones that go towards the back versus the ones that go towards the front. So now they kind of look like a mess, but I did try, believe it or not, to make it look like, you know how in shoes some go over and under, like it goes over on the left side, under on the right side, then over and under and over and under. I tried to make that weaving pattern. I don't know if I was necessarily successful with it. Now, I do not draw any logo on this shoe because, one, I'm not sponsored, but sponsor me, sports brands. I would love to, do some sponsorship. That would be great. Anyway, so yeah, I just keep it generic, and that's probably what I'll do with all my videos. Keep it generic. And in this way, it'll help set me up that I can work with any brand because I haven't targeted or isolated one brand specifically, if you know what I mean. LOL, ignore that foot in the corner. I ended up erasing it. I was originally trying to do a mini foot to see like what I need to do on the big foot because I was having such problems, but I guess I didn't show it on camera, so I did edit it out. Anyway, this is the fourth shoe. I think I draw one more on camera and then two more I draw later off camera. Then I realized, probably should have recorded it, but you know. This is as if you're looking at it from the side view again, but this is, if it was facing the right last time, this is now it looking at the left side. Boy, oh boy, do I cut things out here because it was at like, I feel like the first one, yes, it was the side view, but it was angled either up or down. I don't even remember. But this one, this is plain side view, and the shoe that I was looking at, it had for the back, that getting that back arch to so you could tell that it was like an arch where you put your foot in was like the hardest thing for me. I don't understand why I couldn't do it. And in the end, you still can't really tell, but it was just like I had to give up. Like I had to move on. It was an interpretation. I think you understood the point. Like that's all it really needed to be. Look at the lip of the shoe. You see how it's like sticking out? I wish I like shaded the back side so that it looked 2D. Not 2D, that's what it looks right now. So it looks 3D. I don't do that, and then I don't paint it as if it is 2D. Well, I paint it as 2D, as if it is 3D. But I am thinking that I am going to go back with pen or ink so that you get that 3D feel. So the ink will show. And I do use, in addition to using microns to ink it, I also use this thick Prismacolor. It's kind of, it is a marker, I want to say. I don't think it is ink. And it just gives me a nice solid black line. Like it goes over the watercolor nicely, because watercolor tends to be one of the paints that dries lighter than most other things, so you can layer pretty well. It does, it's not completely opaque, I will say that, because you are able to see the microns under it, but it is what it is. I don't think it picks it up on camera, which is a benefit because I'm recording it for you guys. Anyway, let me get back to actually talking about this shoe. I do here indicate the dark versus, well, the ones that are going under, which are dark because they're being shaded by the other shoelaces. So I hope that's nice for you guys. A little nice treat, I thought. I thought I was being generous, if you will. Yeah, as you can see, I just cut that out. I honestly kind of like the swoop better, but I erased it and it can't be undone. Sometimes, like, I wish I didn't have to, like, do this and look at it again to make myself suffer, because sometimes, like, oh, I liked it before, but then I already changed it, and so it is what it is. Now, I think this is, like, one of the ones I was, like, okay about, didn't love, but once you see it in watercolor, I'm like, oh, fantastic. Okay, I just zoomed out a bit so that you could see the final shoe before I move on to the next shoe. I mean, the final outcome, of course. So I start off with my guidelines, basic shapes, or whatever you call it. And honestly, at first, to me, it kind of looks like a loaf. Maybe that's just the artist in me seeing things and other things. I don't know, but it is kind of funny. But then later on, when I have, like, the basic body built before the shoelaces, which I don't even end up adding shoelaces. I'm just like, well, it could just be one of those, like, sandals you slip on your feet that you don't even tie. It kind of looks like a shuttle to me. One of those that you see early on before graphics really became good. You know what I mean? I am the little swoop you see under the shoe, that's supposed to be the sole of it, and that's what I'm doing. This right here, that swoop, because you know how, like, you see one side of the shoe and it has a curve and the backside has a curve. I'm trying to add that right now. And you see I add the lip of the shoe, which goes up. And it's very defined here, but I'm pretty sure later, when I draw it, I get rid of the definition a little bit, which I probably will need to go back in and correct when it comes to using pen. Over the next couple of seconds or so, I just work out the simple details. So I've already had that basic foundation, and I will just leave it to you to see my process, and I'll have some music in the background, and I'll come to you at the end so you can see the final project. So there really isn't much detail I added to this shoe. I just try and refine the simple details that are there because it's just a shoe that you slip on without having a need to tie any shoelaces. So that pretty much wraps up today's video. Please join me next week when I actually paint and ink this. See you then.